Being a true CEO is about so much more than just working really hard and getting a bunch of stuff done. It's about shifting your mindset, your behaviors, your decision making so that you are continuously leveling up and becoming the version of a leader that your business needs from you at each new stage of growth. I've had the opportunity to work with hundreds of some of the top CEOs that I know. And today I want to break down the common themes, the key mindsets, behaviors, habits that I see from the best entrepreneurs and founders out there, and what we can learn from them so that we can become a CEO that is capable of driving maximum performance and maximum growth into your business. Are you ready to get started? Let's do this. So the first thing I want to talk about is actually the CEO mindset. This is the number one shift that I see CEOs go through as their business grows, which is when we're small, we have what I call the producer mindset. And the producer mindset sounds like this. I need to work harder to get everything done. If something needs to happen, I'm the best person to do it. If there's a task or something that needs to be figured out, I will figure it out. I am the creator of my own success and I can outwork any problem. That's the producer mindset. And that's where we all start when our businesses are small. But as our businesses grow, success and the mindset that comes with success actually has to change. We go from producer to what I call then leader. The leader mindset sounds like, how do I build the best team to get everything done? How do I make sure that my people have what they need to be set up for success so they can execute the tasks, so they can solve the problem, so they can drive my business forward? That's the leadership mindset, and all of us need to live here to some extent. And then as our business grows even further, as we step even more out of the day-to-day, and we really get into that multi-7, multi-8-figure revenue range, where we have to spend more and more of our time is in what I call the visionary mindset, where our whole job comes down to how well can we build and hold the strategic vision for our business, and how can we make the best decisions that will drive our company towards that vision. That becomes the whole job. We are no longer in production. We are only in leadership roles over a couple of key people, namely our management team. And we are spending most of our time in visionary. So depending on the stage of growth that you're in, the question is, how much time am I spending wearing each of these hats, occupying each of these mindsets? And am I spending the right amount of time in each place for this stage of business that my company is at? If you're small, if you're less than 7 figures, producer is where you need to be most of the time. As you go from 7 to multi-7 figures up until that like 500K per month mark, then you want to be spending the majority of your time in leadership and in team building. And then as you exceed that 300, 500K per month plus mark, you're going to find yourself spending more and more time in true visionary mindset, because that's what your business needs from you at each stage of growth. So that's the mindset, the identity piece. The second key shift that I see take place as companies scale comes in terms of time. So when we're small, most founders need to be thinking very short term. What do I do today, this week, in order for my company to survive this week, this month? How do I make money right now? How do I figure out what works right now? It's very short-term thinking, and it's a lot of massive action taking to figure out what works week over week and month over month. As our company scales and grows, we need to start thinking longer and longer term. So in that middle stage of growth, when you're in that 7 to multi-7 figure range, gradually you need to start thinking in terms of quarters and then years, right? So what are we doing in the next 90 days as a company that is going to move us towards our annual targets and our annual goals? We start looking further out, and we're going to take actions today that may not be completed or may not ROI for us for another 90 days or 6 months. But we're starting to look further and further out and starting to plan and build longer term. And then when you really study multi-7, multi-8 figure founders, they are all thinking in terms of years, and the really good ones are thinking in terms of decades. How are the actions that I'm taking now going to realize their fullest potential 10 years from now? How are they going to realize their fullest potential a generation from now? The best founders that I know are thinking multi-generationally about how the actions they take are going to affect their children and their grandchildren. So you can almost always tell how advanced an entrepreneur and founder is by how far into the future they are looking. And the more you grow, the more your business grows, and the more advanced you become, you will find yourself looking further and further into the future. So recognize that as your company grows, your Your time horizon needs to stretch, and the actions that you're taking and the decisions that you're making now need to be considered across a longer and longer timeline. Core behavior number 3, and I think this should come as a surprise to no one, your focus as a CEO shifts from what can I do to what can I create a team to do. I like to think of the CEO in 2 metaphors. The first is that when we're in producer mindset, we are a player on the field. We are the MVP player on this soccer field, running around, chasing every ball, scoring every goal, doing everything in the business. As we grow into leader and visionary, our job becomes, how do I step off of being a player on the field and onto the sidelines as a coach? My job now is not to run out there and run the play. My job is to build and train a world-class team. Build a team that is capable of running the play. Build a team that is capable of producing the highest level of result on repeat, with or without me on the field. And so the skill sets that come with that need to shift. Where before your success came down to how well can you market, sell, deliver on products, your skill set now needs to become how well do you lead? How well do you hire? How well do you fire? How well do you manage? How well do you build culture? This becomes the new skill set that determines whether entrepreneurs are able to successfully scale through 7 into multi-7 and multi-8 figure levels of growth, because your success at that size as a CEO is no longer about you. It no longer comes down to what can you do, and everything comes down to how well can you build a team to execute in alignment with your vision. So your focus has to shift from what can I do to what can my team do, and all of your attention and energy goes into learning how to build and lead a high performance team. So here's a fun fact. Most CEOs that start their businesses, like founding entrepreneurs, end up not being the same CEO that scales that business. Most CEOs quit. They exit their business, they close their business down, they want to go back and they want to start the next thing. They don't end up being a CEO that grows and scales that same company long term. Why? Because it requires a totally different way of thinking, different set of skills, and different set of priorities. The big priority that I see most founders struggle with as they grow and scale, the thing that bores them to death and gets them to end up quitting rather than scaling their business, is operations and optimization. What I mean is that when you're small, success comes down to how much new stuff can I try and do all the time. You're in this constant instant gratification novelty loop where you're launching new things and then you're seeing the results come back to you. And this is what most founders love and end up getting addicted to. But as you scale a business, you're not launching new stuff all the time. Now the name of the game is, how do I make things 1% better every single day? How do I optimize? How do I build systems so that things get a little bit better and a little bit more efficient all the time? How do I reduce inefficiencies? How do I optimize workflows? How do I build a slightly better team? How do I create marginal gains all the time so that I can turn my company into a well-oiled machine? Most founders find this boring as fuck, which is why most founders will actually quit or scale their business back down or exit it so they can get back to the startup phase where it's all new all the time. So if you're committed to scaling your business and becoming the CEO of a multi-7, multi-8 figure company, it comes down to shifting your priorities and your focus towards operations, towards building the best version of your business possible, as opposed to constantly trying new things. This is the stage of growth where we step in to help our clients because it is such a difficult transition to make. But the result is huge, because when you're starting, it's all about trying new things and generating more top line revenue, new cash through the door. Once you've got a working business and you're scaling it up, the major focus becomes profit. How do I get the same work done more effectively with fewer expenses? AKA, how do I widen and strengthen my profit margin so that my team and my company scales as profitably and lean as possible? And so when it comes to operations, it's all around driving profit inside of your business. This is why one of the tools that we created at Spyglass is called the Hidden Profit Finder, where right now in your business is there opportunity for you to be capturing more profit, but you're not, because that profit is leaking out of your business through the operational inefficiencies that you may not even know are there. The This is the hidden profit inside of your company waiting to be taken off the table. So to help our clients with this, we developed something we call the Hidden Profit Finder. And it's such an effective tool that I go ahead and I just give it away for free now. So if you want the Hidden Profit Finder, that link is in the comments. Go ahead and grab it, and it will tell you exactly where in your business there is profit leaking out of your operations and exactly what you can do to begin reclaiming that hidden profit starting today. So go ahead, grab that if that's a helpful tool for you, because at the end of the day, starter CEOs focus on revenue. Truly advanced and scaling CEOs focus on profit. Okay, couple more points that I want to make around the common traits that I see in the world's best CEOs that I've gotten to work with. And these all come down to leadership. So we talked about knowing how to build a team. Now I want to talk about how to build yourself. The best CEOs that I know understand one fundamental truth, which is that my company will only ever grow as fast as I do. Meaning my ability, my competency, my skills, my personal development, my inner work, the version of me that I am will always be the limiting factor, the bottleneck to the growth of my business. Therefore, if I want my company to grow and grow faster, I need to grow and grow faster. The best CEOs that I know all work with coaches. They all work with therapists. They all take a time out of their busy schedules and busy days to focus on themselves, their health, their wellness, their mental health, their spiritual health. They understand that by being the best version of themselves, they will allow their company to be the best version of itself. And so the question becomes twofold. Number one, are you dedicating time to continuously growing and leveling up? And I'm not just talking about reading books. I'm talking about becoming a different and better version of yourself. And then question number two is, do I know what my business needs from me next? Do I know who I need to become? Do I know what skills I need to develop and work on? Do I know where my weaknesses and shortcomings are currently holding my business back? And do I have I invested in the right level of support to work on those weaknesses constantly to continuously up-level into a new version of me? The best CEOs that I know are incredibly growth-oriented, not just growing outwards, but growing inwards, growing deeper into themselves and becoming a better version of them. I see it across the board. So that's the leadership growth that I really find to be the make or break factor when it comes to successful CEOs of fast growth startups. And this last one is the thing I see CEOs struggle with more than anything else as their companies grow and start to scale, which is strategic decision making, aka saying no. So I always say starting a business is about what you say yes to, right? Scaling a business is about what you say no to. There's this great quote by Jeff Bezos where he says, I am so proud of Amazon and everything that we have done, but I am more proud of the things that we didn't do. I am more proud of the opportunities that we walked away from, that we said no to, because it allowed us to stay focused and become the best at what it is that we do more than anyone else. So when you're starting a business is about what you say yes to. It all comes down to trial and error and taking massive action because you don't really know what you're doing. You're figuring out product market fit. You're figuring out who you want to deliver what services to. And so it's all about trial and error and learning as quickly as possible. So success at that stage of growth comes down to saying yes. Yes, we will try that, Mr. Client. Yes, I will try that new service. Yes, I will work with that new avatar. Yes, I will try that new marketing funnel. Yes, all the time. That's what creates success. At scale, it's about recognizing that you only have the bandwidth within your organization to make a couple of key decisions and execute on a couple of key priorities every single quarter. And therefore, the core skill set required there is not saying yes. It's not generating a bunch of ideas and wanting to chase all of them. It's actually saying no. It's about seeing the great idea that would make you a bunch of money and saying no, because you know it's going to pull your focus away from your core strategy, your core mission, the core direction in which your business is moving. And again, this is probably the number one thing that I see CEOs hold themselves back with. So we're so used to doing more to get more, but that's a startup mentality. Scaling is about doing less to get more. It is about focus, alignment, and charging your entire team and all the energy and work of your entire team in a single direction so that you move faster, more powerfully, with more momentum, with more speed, with more profit, until your business becomes an unstoppable machine. So there you have it. Those are the common traits, characteristics, and behaviors that I see from the top CEOs and the CEOs that successfully get their companies out of startup mode and into truly scaling to multi-7, multi-8 figures and beyond. So if you want more actionable insights on how to grow your business, go ahead, check out my next video. It's right there, and I will see you over there.